every Chinese company operating in China or anywhere else in the world, including a subsidiary. So you take like a Chinese company like ByteDance, their subsidiary TikTok is equally required under these laws to provide every bit and byte of data that they collect, that they store, that transits their network, or that in any other way touches what they're doing. It must be made available. There is no get out of jail free card. There is no denying that. Anyone who doesn't do that doesn't stay in business very long. So that's every Chinese company, no matter where they operate. Those same requirements apply to every foreign company operating inside China. So previously, you would take a large company operating in China, and they would use certain networking strategies or virtual private networks like encryption and other technologies to try and hide or prevent the Chinese government from accessing certain information. In 2019, I believe, or it may have been 2020, they passed a law, the Chinese government passed a law that made that type of networking strategy and those types of encryption capabilities illegal. So you can technically have encryption, but only up into a certain level and no level that the Chinese government can't crack, essentially. So at the end of the day, by law, the Chinese government gets everything. And companies, by that same law, are required not to admit that. Okay, so that's one of the key dynamics that has changed. Up until that point, a lot of Western companies thought, okay, the loss of intellectual property and having to comply with Chinese law, that's just the cost of doing business, but the market is so great and the economic upside is so significant that it's worth kind of paying that tax. I think with the enactment of these laws and with the growing crackdown by the CCP against non-Chinese tech companies, the economics are changing, and it's causing these companies to reevaluate. And then on top of that, you have the geopolitical situation where you have the United States and China, obviously, and not in any way changing anytime soon, moving toward a more confrontational posture.
Perhaps they're responding to the Kissinger dictum that a little trade lost can be recovered somewhere, freedom lost cannot be regained.
I think that's exactly right. Mm. But again, taking an action on China, similar to what we did with Russia, is a different thing altogether.
Yeah.
The choice to act against Russia by industry wasn't nearly as costly as what China would be.
Yeah.
And then the same thing applies to Western governments. Western governments, particularly our friends in Europe, are not going to be nearly as quick and decisive and aggressive in their response to China as they
There
have
are
with Russia.
still European countries considering allowing Huawei into their communications networks because they're so cheap right now.
Yeah,
and they must be aware
that's right.
that simply means all their data and their citizens' data goes straight to Beijing.
But see, that goes to my point about...
and it also risks their relationships with the United States, I would have thought.
It absolutely does.
Yeah.